here in black and white. This is not a bailout. This is a complete takeover. Anthony J. Hilder, we're really honored to have you here with us. You made films decades ago about their plan to do this because you'd seen them do it in many other nations. Break down what we see happening right now financially.
Well, this is financial Armageddon. First of all, it's not a recession. It's a depression, and we're going full bore into it. It's Osama bin Laden that is attacking this country. Well, no, I've got to rephrase that. It's Osama bin Bush. That's the reality. The Osama bin Ladens that we hear about have been dead for years. But this is alive. They're attacking every bank account. They're attacking every home. They're attacking every child. They're attacking every mother, every child to be. They're after. They want us all. They want us numbered. There's an invasion coming from south of the border. That's only because the Latinos will accept a biochip in exchange for a citizenship. So
and by the way, they are chipping the Mexican police, and they're making the Attorney General feds for 4 years take chips. That's MSNBC. This isn't a joke.
We have a film, it's called Citizenship 666. They exchange their freedom for the citizenship. And it is all in the works now. There isn't anything you have. There isn't anything you ever had or ever hoped to have. They're not planning on taking away. They want it all, and this is the coup de grace. If this thing goes through, they're going to put this hammer is going to come down like a guillotine on the back of your head. This is financial Armageddon. If it doesn't come, they're going to create the crisis for the control. It's ordo ab chao. When you see this on the side of the Masonic buildings, it means something. They have a reason for doing this. It is a satanic Luciferian agenda. When you have somebody like Paulson and Bernanke from the Council on Foreign Relations saying this is what we must have, don't be afraid, be very afraid. We have to have a revelation. We have to have every single listener get on the phone to the congressman, just the numbers, because they don't listen to what you have to say, but they look at the numbers. If we make it impossible for them to do this, then we will avoid this. But even if we avoid it, they will create another crisis to bring about control.
And, Anthony, it's not like we just started saying this. I mean, my book, written 6.5 years ago, The Sentence to Tyranny, the last chapter said they'd do this in around 2008, 2009, because I had their own documents. It's not hard when they're telling you what they're going to do. And then 3 years ago, we got our info out of the Bilderberg group saying they were going to start it with the housing collapse by design. I mean, it's not just like we're pointing our finger now. They say, it's even in mainstream news, that they're privatizing the Treasury and then letting them have select rules where they can consolidate all the other banking and financials. And
they own the money system. We have to get the money system out of their hands. When Henry Kissinger met with Sarah Palin yesterday, I took a look at that. It's like, the angel meeting with the devil, but the angel is influenced by the devil. We have our preachers from the podium saying, we must go in this direction. We must get ready. I'm talking about the Robertsons.
They admittedly are on the government payroll. It's not even a secret.
And then I'm going to a convention this weekend. This is the Bay Area UFO convention, and I'll give you a number on that later. But at the convention, they're going to be talking about the use of UFOs, or the illusion of a second coming through Operation Bluebeam. In fact, Kissinger had made the statement. He said, today America would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow they will be grateful, especially if they had this outside threat from beyond that was uncontrollable. They didn't know what to do. They were in the streets, and along came a voice and said, "Follow us." It's like
Anthony, explain to people what Operation Bluebeam is. The government has declassified that they have plans to project, 3,000-foot tall Jesus, Buddha, UFOs, what they've been projecting above Dallas.
In every section of the world where it would be, where the Muslims would find out what they believed would be coming, and the Christians would see, Christ. They would see crucifixes. They would have all of this imagery. They've been practicing this for years.
Yeah, there's no doubt they've been preparing with the media and the culture and the Olympic Games ceremonies where they have UFOs, fake UFOs landing, that they've been gearing up for something like this. I don't know if that's what they're planning to pull, but that's certainly in their bag of tricks, of dozens of different tricks. But having the Pope come out and say aliens are real and they're our friends, and having all these astronauts come out and say it's all real, do you think they're preparing the public for this?
Oh, absolutely. There's a preparation. I had the former candidate for mayor in Alaska, in Anchorage, when I had my show up there. He and one of my other listeners went down to Area 51. That's when there wasn't a lot of activity up and down the Highway 375. They went into the Tikaboo Valley. This is about 120 miles north of Vegas. They went out the road towards Area 51, the Groom Lake facility. They parked the car. About 5 minutes later, two cars come up. The Broncos, with the camel dudes, as we would call them. They asked to see their license plate. They wanted to see the driver's licenses. They wanted to find out if they had any cameras on them. They went through a whole series of interrogations and trying to get them to go. And my friend said, well, isn't this BLM land? He said, well, there's bombs that could have been dropped over here. You're in danger. And he said, isn't it BLM land? He says, yes. So they walked. The security guys left. And the two girls and this fellow was frightened. And then I'll tell you the rest of the story.
Well, we're definitely in crazy times with the Pope coming out and saying, get ready for little green men to land, and these astronauts coming out and saying all this, not just one, several of them. CNN, Larry King Live saying aliens are real. And then we're the weirdos for saying, no, it's fake, they're going to stage it. Things are certainly upside down. Stay with us. Look, we know there's huge black ops, a lot of secret government technology, a lot of things going on. We know it's declassified that they have planned to create basically a worldwide UFO New Age cult and promote it. The media now promotes monkey suits with some cat vomit on its stomach and says it's Bigfoot. We say it's not, and we're the kooks because we don't believe it, and then they admit it's a monkey suit. So we're saying it's not Bigfoot, we're saying it's not UFOs, and we're the weirdos. It's government operation, psychological warfare. Anthony, I want to finish up with Bluebeam. Incidentally, I'm going to be talking about some of that tonight myself on Coast to Coast AM. Part of the subjects I'm going to be on there about that and the financial implosion. But Anthony, I want to come back and take calls. But I mean, really, you have really gotten into this financial implosion. You made the film Illuminazi, which came out simultaneously with Road to Tyranny. Really, it's the first 9/11 film along with mine because they came out the same week. It's like a tie in a race car race or something, but that doesn't matter. Illuminazi is just excellent, and you break down how it goes in phases, and they're now bringing us into the economic collapse, and I want to get into how the international bankers operate when we come back. But right now, in the time we have left, continue with Bluebeam. They're out there in Area 51, which does exist, folks. There are secret craft there. I know the television tells you Area 51 doesn't exist. Go ahead.
They're out there in the Tikaboo Valley. They were there for about 3 minutes after the guards left, and they hear this roar, but not from above like the aurora, but beneath the ground, and the ground shook like an earthquake or like a freight train going underneath them out to the southeast of the Tikaboo Valley near the Hancock Pass, and this one of the girls, they had set up their chairs and looking at 3 sections of the sky, and she says, "Oh, my God, my God!" And they turn around, and there is a craft they described as about 1,000 feet across. That's like 900 feet. And from that, several craft were coming out. In fact, so many at one time was up to around 25. She had a little belly pack in her camera. They didn't search her body. And she just put it on the top of the car. And it was taking pictures of these craft that were flying around. This isn't coming from outer space. It's coming from this government, of those who control this government, to frighten you into panic. We've got a film called The Panic Project. We've got one called Alien 51. It's all part of our catalog. We've revamped this so you'll understand it. And they want the preachers, they want the Christians and the conservatives to be frightened. They want them to react. The action is in the reaction for them. If you don't react to them, if you get them to react to you, that's what must be done. We have to have an offensive war, psychological, verbal, the type that is being conducted by Alex Jones. If you're listening to this show and you expand this show, you support the people who support the show, the sponsors, then we're on track. Don't get off track. Don't let them bring you into believing that some monsters are coming down from outer space. I'm going to be at the UFO Bay, the Bay Convention up there. It's going to be this coming weekend. I'm going to give you a number once and not again. If you write it down, 209-836-4281. That's for the UFO convention this weekend, and I don't want to talk any more about that because we've got another crisis coming, and it's going to be here within hours, and that's
this financial
Armageddon.
Okay, before let's end this segment with Bluebeam, though. Take Dr. Bob Bowman. Now, he was the head of the Directed Energy Weapons Program for the Air Force, that division of it. He was the head of it when it was still secret before they announced it in 81, and now a lot of that's been declassified. And I was sitting behind the scenes, for the big 9/11 Neocon Agenda Symposium that went for 2 days in L.A. with 1,200 people at it, and I'm sitting in the green room, and Charlie Sheen's coming in and out of the room. Other folks are back there, Webster Tarpley, and we're sitting there eating lunch. And I said, tell me what you can tell me about the Star Wars program that you headed up at that time that is declassified but not very popularly known. He said, and that's a good way of putting it. He said, I can tell you things that have been accidentally declassified because a lot of presidents and others end up leaking things or want to brag at cocktail parties, or it comes out in news articles. And he said by the mid-'70s, they already had robotic drone spacecraft circling the Earth in a decapitation program, dropping gravity well DU sabos that go up to 30,000 miles an hour. They're non-nuclear. It's just the kinetic energy. And he said that was when he took over the program, and he was only there till 81. They already had space planes, which have a full complement and could already decapitate the world's leaders in an hour. So that's what we're talking about, folks, and that's Bob Bowman, Colonel Bob Bowman. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Coming straight over you. You made my night.
Thousands of different public and non-public reports put out by 25 influential neocon leaders, including Dick Cheney, Jeb Bush, Pearl, Rumsfeld, and others. And what did they say in there? They said, we have control of the United States. We have control of the nuclear weapons. We have control of the financial system. We have control of the neutron weapons, of the race-specific bioweapons. In fact, the race-specific bioweapon and the fact that they were in control of the empire, that's in the September 20th, 2000, Rebuilding America's Defenses document. 120-something page document. Go read it if you dare. Very cold-blooded. Very bold. And, hey, why not stage a terror attack and launch wars and have trillions in oil and hundreds of billions in no-bid weapons contracts? Why not set up a domestic police state you control so you can carry out a mass looting of the entire economy? I broke it down in the first hour, but reading it, total, absolute liability protection. It gives a pardon to all the criminals that have been stealing and thieving. That's why they're saying no investigation, no arrest, no nothing. Now that's for now while they're stealing. Later they'll burn some low-level stockbroker who had a crooked toenail or, didn't wash his car once a week or didn't tie his shoelaces properly and say that that's the arch criminal. But they're saying they can take over anything they want in the economy, your homes, any banking, any government. Congress is signing its authority over forever. They can't really do that. That's treason. By that, this is all color of law and a fraud. Violates the Bill of Rights and Constitution. It's null and void. Marbury versus Madison. But it is not a bailout. But they've got everybody debating, well, should we bail them out? And then people debate, well, I'm not getting bailed out of my credit card debt or out of my mortgage. Well, only 28% of Americans in a Rasmussen major poll, and other polls show similar numbers, right around 25, 30%, depending on the poll. Rasmussen came out yesterday, 28%, are for the bailout. But when you hear them on talk radio and read them in the paper, it's like, I don't like it, and it's bad, and it's socialism for the rich guys, but, the economy's going to implode if we don't. No, you don't understand. They'll stabilize things for a few months if you let them do this, and then they're going to tank it all. They get it all when it goes for fire sale. Pennies on the dollar. Anthony, you produced, you put together, you helped write up the Myron Fagan Illuminati tapes. Breaking down how the bankers did this in Europe, how they did this here. All of the economic collapses come out of Wall Street and come out of the stock exchanges worldwide. They do this cyclically. This is a historical fact. It came out in congressional hearings during the Great Depression. But people forget this every generation. Break it down for people.
First of all, when they created the mechanism through which they gained control, they never had any intention for the people to ever wake up. But through talk radio, we do that. You can make a change. You can get the message. You are getting the message. The privately owned Federal Reserve came in 1913. The income tax came in 1913. The tax-exempt, you pay the taxes foundations.
The FBI came, the Federal Police Force in 1913. The ADL came in 1913.
So what they have done is they've taken over the control over the issuance of currency. They create a debt that is called a dollar bill. It's a debt-bearing note issued at point of origin. They issue it into circulation. Now they're asking you to see the Grand Canyon. The head of the Federal Reserve and Paulson is saying, come over to the edge. You can get a better view. Just step a few. We're right behind you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just come right over to the edge. You can see the Grand Canyon from here. And they push, and you're off. Don't go in that direction. Do whatever you have to do by getting on other radio shows to talk about this financial Armageddon. It's like with the Panic Project. I've just revamped the Panic Project and Alien 51, making it into DVDs. And you can get those by going to freeworldfilmworks.com. We talk about that aspect of this program to bring you, to suck you into the core of their operation. There's never been any fight fought anywhere over anything at any time that's been won defensively. We must take the offense right now. We must stop this thing. When I say thing, I used to watch horror movies when I was a kid, and I saw the thing, and everybody was scared because they didn't know what the hell was on the other side of the door. Well, you have an opportunity to see what's on the other side of the door. You can get these films. You had mentioned Illuminati, the first one that came out, along with yours. We did another one after that. It's called 911, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. It's in 23 countries. It's in 7 languages. These programs are being seen throughout the world.
And that certainly is troubling the New World Order, whereas in the past they could fool the public. Now they know they've been exposed. The problem is they just don't care. They're moving forward. I mean, let's break down. If the people don't speak up, if the people don't say no, if the police and military don't say no, we know they're waking up. What the globalists plan to do, what their master plan looks like, Anthony.
Well, it is like hell on earth, literally hell on earth. By breaking the dollar down, by crashing the dollar, it affords them the opportunity to introduce the Amero. They want to break down the sovereignty of the United States of America, so they have to crash the dollar. What is being done today in the Congress of the United States is an introduction. It's a preparation for the abolition of what you now think of as the United States of America, and the introduction of the North American Union. This is a Nazi agreement. This is what Adolf Hitler envisioned in his book, The World Order. This is the one after Mein Kampf. We're taking a look at a Nazi agreement, and it is a Nazi. It's a Nazi. It's a Nazi version of the European Union. The currency has already been put together. It's the Amero. They have to crash the dollar before they can introduce the Amero. They have to abolish the United States of America to bring in this union. It's Nazi-like in nature, and it is being done now. We're doing a series of films. I'm going to give you a number, 928-227-0760. That's 928-227-0760. You can go to that or freeworldfilmworks.com. Get some of the products that I do. You've got to get some of the products that Alex makes. The films that you make, the films that I make, we're all discussing the same thing. It's just different aspects.
Well, that's, films are such a great vehicle because you don't have to talk to your blue in the face. You just fire and forget. You just give somebody a copy of a DVD, and I found that's the most effective thing. Anthony, I want to go to some calls in a moment, but let's specifically talk about how important 9/11 truth is, how successful it's been. Our goal was to...
You've made it. Let me interrupt you, Alex. You, personally, have stayed on this thing. You're like a pit bull. You're going out there, you grab him by the throat, and you're shaking and shaking and shaking. You brought in Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen did the movie about, Wall Street. We're looking at that thing right now.
Well, the point is it got a lot of attention. It made it safe for other celebrities like Governor Ventura, Willie Nelson, the best actress this year, German defense ministers, Italian president, members of the Japanese parliament, architects and engineers. That's why that was so important now 2.5 years ago. But, for people that don't understand, the victory for 9/11 truth is that in major polls worldwide, the majority of people believe it's an inside job. The vast majority is upwards of 84% in Angus and Reid.
The majority of people in New York City understand it's...
they've had polls where the 60-something% believe inside job in New York. We're talking Zogby. We're talking Angus and Reid. I want to get your take on this, but for people that don't know, worldwide now, the majority folks know that 9/11 was an inside job, but it has to go further. Not that it was just George Bush. He's just a puppet, but the international financial elite did this as a pretext to invade the Middle East, as a pretext to set up a police state in Europe and the United States and England. And so now we are having that revelation that you called for, Anthony. Where do we go from here?
Well, we have to expand. That's where we go from here. When we expand, then we become offensive in nature. They can't combat the giant. They are in a minority. When we understand that they are in a minority, when we go to co-opt their military, when we take people in the military through this story and they understand it, when they get the message, when we bring our films into Pakistan, into Islamabad, and Lahore, when this happens, and it is already happening.
And by the way, our films are everywhere.
And they bootleg them, and that's all right because they get out there. Somebody said that they were taking my film out to Dubai, and they were going to go into Pakistan, and they're selling them on the streets for 1 and 2 rupees. And they're in Malaysia. They are in Thailand. I was talking to 2 individuals who are Chinese who are taking one of our films, China's Answer to Cancer, at a meeting just 2 nights ago. They're going to distribute it throughout all of East Asia. In China, I did this film over there with Dr. Bruce Halstead. A film can be seen by 1 million people. 1 million people can see a film before a book can be read by one. That's a fact.
Absolutely. And what happens now is that a guy sitting in his chair reading New World Order quotes gets seen by millions, and somebody who makes a powerful film gets seen by hundreds of millions, and this stuff just keeps bouncing around forever. We've put so much lead downrange in the info war. You know, I've got a parable or an analogy or a parallel. Remember the Harrison Ford movie?
Yeah.
The sequel to The Guns of Navarone, Force 10 from Navarone?
Mm-hmm.
Where they blow up the dam, and they're sitting there griping at the guy that planned the demolition, saying the dam didn't fall down. And he says, give it a minute, and he starts smoking his pipe, and then it starts cracking, and pieces fall out, and it implodes. Well, we're just now starting to see the cracks form. We have already blown the daylights out of the New World Order. They were already planning to bankrupt us and go for broke, but now they're having to accelerate their program, which makes it even more obvious because it's collapsing out from under them. They're trying to flee forward, fail forward right now, and that's not me putting a pretty face on it. We have done something never before seen in the info war, more than 1776 and the pamphleteers and the Sons of Liberty for a decade before.
Alex, what I'd like to do with your films, I'd like to go to the American Film Mart here in Los Angeles. It's like the Cannes Film Festival. You haven't done it, but I can do it for you. I'd like to go into the American Film Mart with your film, our film, from Alien 51, the Panic Project, the China's Answer to Cancer, Illuminati 911, 911, the greatest lie ever sold, and sell the rights to foreign distributors because they will go out and they will promote it for us. You get a little bit of money, but we get a lot of action. And I'm
not even worried about it. It's already, I mean, the films are already just going completely insane. Just where we can gauge it, millions and millions and millions of views a month just for my main films on YouTube and Google alone, and yours as well. And just thank God that we decided to. Anthony Hilder, I go back to you. What year with Myron Fagan did you put out the Illuminati records?
1967.
And, think about the effect on the catalyst and how many people that woke up in chain reaction.
Well,
and think of those coming after us. I don't think the New World Order is going to get away with this, Anthony.
Well, when I first put out the 3-volume set of this is Long Playing Records, I figured if I could only get 1,000 sets, that's 3,000 records, the story wouldn't be ended. It wouldn't come to a close. We'd have an opportunity for other people to come along and get the message, to pick up the baton. Not only have you picked up the baton, you've gone around the field many, many, many times, and you've been very successful at it. I'm going to give you a number, our number, because we got a fellow waiting to take down orders. 928-227-0760. That's 928-227-0760.
Anthony, I would imagine folks have gotten that, but we can give it out before you leave us. Let's get a few calls in here.
Yes.
Robert in California. Go ahead, Robert.
Good day, gentlemen. How are you feeling?
Well, we're doing as good as we can, trying to wake folks up.
I cry a lot. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. It's just being prepared. A lot of times, and this is where your frustration comes in, is that these people are under just great denial and delusion. And no matter what you say to them, even if you had articles, even if you had like the body just laying in front of them, they would still say, "Oh, nope, I don't see it."
We have to create such action that the enemy is not prepared. The enemy is not prepared for us awakening.
Well, that's already happening. They are not happy. This gobbling of the economy came sooner than they were planning to, according to most of the experts we talked to. Anthony, the New World Order is not invincible. They're not gods. Do you agree that they're being destabilized right now?
Oh, absolutely, because the pedal is to the metal. They would not be doing now what they are doing now unless they were frightened to death that this whole damn thing was coming apart and we were succeeding. There is an exponential rise of awareness.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add, Robert?
I agree with you guys because they can't control it because they haven't accounted for human nature, or the other people, the smaller people involved in investing are trying to get out as fast as they can as well.
You've got to get the films. Alex has been making these films. It's not just to sit on the damn shelf. It's to get them out and play on cable access. Let's say you're in a little town in Podunk, Iowa, and out at Podunk you've got 133 people see it in an afternoon because somebody took the time to go out there and put it on, their show. I mean, when they do this, it just expands.
Absolutely, folks. You cannot sit on your hands. You have got to get films like Illuminati and Terror Storm and Endgame and Truth Rising and make copies of them and pass the files around, the video files, to your email list every day, because the power of a film, that's what the enemy uses against us. The power of you, the listeners, taking action is incalculable. We'll be right back. David Ray Griffin's coming up at the 8 after. 9/11 Truth has had amazing victims. And it's growing faster than it ever has before. More and more prominent people from science, media, academia, film are joining the ranks. It isn't just about 9/11. It's about stopping future stage terror attacks. It's about realizing who really creates the economic crises, the problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. Robert in California, thanks for the call. Dan, Bruce, Cody, Derek, Wes, a few others I want to try to get to. Oh, Cody in Florida disagrees. I want to go to him first. I didn't see that there on the screen. But before we do that, just in a nutshell, Anthony Hilder, you're an icon, and I just respect you so much, and thank you for the work you've done. I probably wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for people who really set the ball in motion back in the 50s and 60s like yourself. In a nutshell, explain to people the system of problem, reaction, solution. I know most of them know, but some of them don't and don't understand. This really is the modus operandi of the enemy.
Look at the Masonic temples. It says Ordo Ab Chao. That isn't just words written in Latin.
Bush has even said that in a bunch of speeches. We're going to bring order out of chaos.
Order out of chaos for control. To create a problem is essential. They have to create a problem so that we are led into trying to solve this thing ourselves, and we get brought to the edge of the cliff. They create the financial Armageddon so that we have, when we go to the bank, we find it's frozen.
And then we have to look to them for help, and they say they're going to give us a national ID FEMA card with money on it. They are real bastards.
Well, it's not just bastards. It's a satanic order. It's a Luciferian order. If you don't believe in God, they have their Lord Lucifer.
No, I know. They believe in it.
You know, when you fold that $20 bill, and we fold it on our film 911, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold, we forgot to put in something. Mm-hmm. When you do the fold, there is on the left-hand side at the bottom an ST. ST is an abbreviation for saint. On the other side, there's an IN. It's Saint N.
No, I know. These people, hey, I've got this big Mason going into Masonic meetings saying, I love Lucifer, I am Lucifer. And the average Mason, of course, isn't a bad person, doesn't know that the higher levels of their order, it's actually just a gateway into another order. Let's go ahead and take another call here. Dan in New Jersey, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Dan. Oh, wow. Hey, what's going on, guys?
We're doing a radio show, sir. You got anything you want to say?
Yeah. We need a detailed plan from you, Alex. Like, you keep talking that we need to bring them down, we need to do this, we need to do that. I would 100% agree. I just think people who don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's easy to say, meet up with us and I'll be the leader and do this and that, but that they can cut the head off something like that. All of us waking people up, all of us saying no, people in government leaking information, bringing out corruption, people in media saying no, no, no. And you're seeing more and more of that. Just the courage of going public and saying 9/11's an inside job, that will sabotage the system. The problem is they control the banking system. It's their system, so they, have the high ground. Anthony Hilder?
Well, you start the job, you start the fight where you are with what you've got. If you can get a phone call into a major national show, they've got all of these opportunities that are in front of you, all you have to do is pick up the phone.
Exactly. Folks, you're looking for a magic silver bullet that'll kill all the werewolves. There isn't one person or one thing or one perfect organization or group or multi-level marketing thing that's going to do it. It is going to demonstrations, going to protests, going and speaking to your city council that goes out locally on cable, going to your media, having them, calling into talk shows, setting up websites, making films. I mean, look at, Dylan Avery makes a $5,000 film and it reaches 100 million people. All of my films reaching hundreds of millions together. That's how it's done. You just take action.
Big Brother. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
David Ray Griffin coming up. First, let's keep going to calls here for a living legend, Anthony J. Hilder. Okay, he's here in queue. I'm going to skip ahead of some folks to go to him. Cody in Florida disagrees. Go ahead, Cody. You're on the air.
Hi, Mr. Jones. How you doing?
Good.
Yes, I actually disagree about something you said, I think, a month ago about vaccines, about how the military, it's actually illegal to force them to take vaccines.
Okay, go ahead and put out your information.
Well, I looked into it, and I could only find a waiver for religious reasons that only went out to select branches. It didn't even cover all of them.
Okay, now let me give you the facts. Okay, are you listening? Do you have a pen and paper? Because I'm going to give you the facts. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
This deals with people's lives here. When you sign that corporate indentured servitude contract, and that's what it is, same thing sharecroppers, indentured servants on slave ships 300 years ago coming to this country signed. You corporately waive your rights, but they're not allowed to shoot you or kill you. Are they allowed to feed you pesticides? Are they allowed to chop your fingers off? No, they can't violate the military code. So they can, by color of law, intimidate you into the fact that they're supposedly allowed to do that. But your drill sergeant isn't allowed to pull your teeth out with pliers, are they? No. Now, you corporately agree, and then you can be dishonorably discharged because under the corporate agreement you've signed with the International Crime Syndicate, the private corporation, you've agreed to that in deferred adjudication. You're like on probation with them. It's how the color of law works. But under federal law, they cannot force you to take any experimental vaccines, smallpox, anthrax, and they have to tell you what it is when they give it to you. You can still say no. There may be consequences. But they cannot give you experimental vaccines without your consent. That's what I was saying. And they certainly can't say, we won't tell you what this is, then they give it to you and a whole bunch of the troops die. That's what I was saying.
Cody, when you talk about the military, you see the advertisements that says, be Army strong. Yeah. It's smart to be in the military. It is never smart to surrender your rights and your sovereignty and your life to an organization that is controlled by the President of the United States when the President of the United States is using the U.S. military against the people.
We're not against the military. We're against, like Hitler took control of the German military. You see, the military is openly run by foreign crime syndicates. You understand that?
Yes, and could I explain what kind of my theory was?
A theory? I'm telling you the facts. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, for a while I was wanting to join. I was hoping to be part of one of the good guys to hopefully someday, if there could be a second revolution, be a part of that in the military structure.
See, it's not a matter of being Army strong, it's being Army dumb. We have a football player that played, that decided he wanted to surrender his career and join, and he was killed over in Afghanistan.
And he found out it was a scam, so they fragged him. He didn't want to guard opium fields. So you know what they did? They shot him, and he was still alive, and they walked right up and sprayed him right in the face.
Yeah, it's Pat Tillman, right?
That sound good?
That's Pat Tillman. In fact, he's in our film. We talk about that story in Skull and Bones, or the Catholic Connection. We have to utilize this information effectively. Alex has got this film, his films, out around the world. They take them, and God knows where.
Yeah, that's a huge part of the solution. Listen, I'm out of time. I'm not trying to be mean to you. Cody, you can call me back someday, and I'll be happy to talk to you. It just scares the daylights out of me, thinking about all these good young men and women that join the military. Have you heard about Project Shad, Cody, when they spray the troops with nerve gas and kill them?
Yes.
Why would you join something run by psychopathic killers that'll kill you? You understand the Army's main job shipping narcotics in here? This is not our military. They find out you're a good guy, they'll put you in the front lines. You're a criminal, they'll promote you into Black Ops. Anthony Hilder, it has been great having you on. Fire out your website.
Oh, yes, it's Free World Filmworks, freeworldfilmworks.com.
Thank you, Anthony. We're out of time. We'll talk to you again soon.